And welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. I'm going to kick it over to Jeff Sterling and we'll get started here for everybody. If you could mute your microphones, welcome everybody. We got a big group here. Very excited for that. Jeff, if you want to get us started, that'd be great.
All right, very good. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to CONNEX Live demo. My name is Jeff Sterling. I am an area business manager here at Missouri Enterprise, the state's NIST MEP Center. Our purpose here at Missouri Enterprise is to support manufacturers and to help them grow in our state. And we do that through a variety of different solutions, such as business planning, industry certifications, continuous improvement, technology assessments, and so much more. What that means to you is this: we are the manufacturing experts. We have subject matter experts here in Missouri, but we are also connected with a national network of manufacturing experts, over 1,800. So whatever you need, we can fill it. In some cases, we are a fee-based organization, but being part of the MEP network, that also allows us to be more impact-driven. So that keeps us in business of supporting and helping manufacturers grow and succeed, and we rely on the surveys to keep us going. Once we get to the end of today's webinar, a survey link through the chat will ask you to take an opportunity to fill out a survey. There's about 10 questions. And then in a few months, NIST MEP will follow up with an email of their own survey to gather information on how you had benefited from today's event and the impact that was provided to you from and into your company. So is everybody ready? Let's get started. I would like to introduce you to Missouri Enterprise's Supply Chain Program Manager, Jeff Wilkins.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Jeff. Welcome everybody. We've got a great group here. Appreciate you all joining us. This is a focused demonstration on CONNEX. A lot of you have already signed up, but also we are going to put this on our tutorial page as well. On CONNEX, and you can go back there, or if we have new users that have joined, you can fill it out there and find it there and have that listed for yourself to get some more information later on. So we'll have that, and along with some other videos we're going to have. We also have Alan Davis. He's with I5 Services, the developer of CONNEX, and he's going to be talking today about the Exchange Center and what that all entails. And he's also, with his company, has a lot of training videos and informational videos that are going to be ongoing over the course of the next few months and into the next year about CONNEX and how you can best get out of CONNEX, what you're trying to get into it, what you put into it, what you get out of it. So appreciate him helping us today. I also have Michelle Weingard on. Michelle is from Swisher Acquisitions here in Missouri. And she is gonna just talk a little bit about CONNEX. I came across her profile as we were looking through our database and seeing that she had updated it and done a very good job with that. So I wanted to pin her as a model of what we're looking for you guys to get the best out of CONNEX and what it can bring for you. So I'm gonna just share real quick my screen here, and let's see, actually, let's see here. And hopefully you guys can all see that right now. Is it sharing out? Is that okay for everybody? Okay. So this is our main page, and I just wanted to go through here and let you know our CONNEX, Missouri Enterprise.CONNEX. You can go here. We have a countdown in for our national database. It's 39 days. I wanted to make you all aware that there is a national database. There's Missouri CONNEX, which allows Missouri manufacturers to sign up for free through our platform. You can access your CONNEX Missouri account here and register for your CONNEX account here. But you also, we're encouraging you to register for that national database. The national, it's through Manufacturers Marketplace. It's also going to move over to be called the CONNEX Marketplace. But we want you to look to do that. We have 60 days. It's now down to 39 for Missouri manufacturers to register and have a free access to that for a lifetime. Every year there's an annual fee for that. It's $500 annually. It also allows you a lot more, the same benefits that Missouri Connects have, but also national benefits too, for connecting with other manufacturers, looking at their CONNEX exchange or their exchange center, their helping adding your supply chain to things as far as that goes. So when you go to that, if you go to register for CONNEX, our CONNEX page, this is where you actually register for an account. And I think most of you have, but if you haven't, you're watching this video for the first time or on for the first time, this is where you'd actually go to request that CONNEX Missouri account. And you'll get an email that you have been accepted if you're a Missouri manufacturer. And then you'll get some follow-up information from me about some quick tips to join and everything. After that, you can go into the database. This is what our database looks like. As far as when you first log in, I'm logged in as an example company right now, and I can see that there's the industries. This is kind of filters through the industries and what we have in Missouri as far as manufacturers that are uploaded to the database. But we still only have a handful, or I guess about 100 companies that actually claim profiles, and you are among that group. So we're really encouraging manufacturers, your peer manufacturers, to find their account. You know, we can see that we have these listings here of these companies here, and 5H, I know they're on our program, and they put in a description, and you can see as you start looking through it, you can see what companies have been added and are starting to add to their profile. You are the ones that are, you know, in control of your information and what you can put on there. So so just know that that's kind of what we're looking for you to do that, to help you kind of push your company and network and get on board with other manufacturers throughout the state and throughout the United States. As the CONNEX platform hosts out to about 140,000 different organizations. So you can browse organizations and search for organizations and also search for specific things. So this is where I wanted to bring Michelle in. If I put in laser cutter, you can see several companies come up here, but they also are listed by maybe a description, attachments, capabilities, name, Swisher's acquisitions here. I can narrow this search down and go to filter here and look for, let's do metal fabrication, and adds another thing. And then you can see Swishers on here with 2 other companies that actually have added their profile. And it helps as you add your profile, what you're able to see and view as far as that goes. So if we look at Michelle's profile here and things that she's added, you can see key people and capability statements, and as far as those things. So at this point, Michelle, I just want you to talk real quick about, I'll stop my share and kind of focus on your aspects of it as far as what you thought, about CONNEX, getting into it, and those types of things. So Michelle, I'll turn it over to you for.
No, thank you, appreciate it. Initially, we joined the CONNEX because we thought it would be a really good avenue for our purchasing department to kind of open up their supply chain avenues. Even though it was really on the surface that being able to network with other companies would be a benefit, that's when they pulled me in and they said, hey, we think that contract manufacturing service would really benefit from jumping in on this. So when we got on the platform, like anything, I think it takes a little bit of time to navigate and learn what it looks like, how it's supposed to work, how to get it set up. I think we set the July webinar for the kickoff. That was the most beneficial webinar I think that we've had, because it showed you really this is what you need to look like when you're done with getting your profile set up. And so we kind of took that and the resources that Jeff sent out on the email after the kickoff on the 1st, we sat down and looked through that and said, okay, this is what we need to plan. This is how we need to get it set up. And it was really easy with those resources to do that, to get our company profile set up so that way people can see us and we can manage what we need to do. So other than that, I mean, it was just a really easy process with those resources. If it weren't for that, it would be a little bit more iffy, but I think we did really well with those resources. And Alan, he's been really great about the webinars we've attended with him to kind of show us the back end of that and show us what other companies are doing and how to get in there. So these webinars are key to success in this program, I think, when you're starting off. So
great. Yeah, thank you for that, Michelle. And then kind of the next thing I want to go into a little bit about is our, upgrading to that. We talked about the national database, but when you do a search, like I did laser cutter here or laser cutting, you can expand to that national database. So that's kind of where you would actually click on that link. Because I'm already logged in, or actually I'm not logged in. This is a good example because I haven't done this for this Prime account. This is a demo account that I have. You'll see a page like this, and then you would agree to it. You'd actually find your organization. You would agree to to these conditions, accept that, and then you can confirm. And at that point, there's a couple steps after that. And I don't want to do that right now, but that you can actually upgrade and go into connecting your account, so using the same username and password that you're going to use for CONNEX Missouri up into the national database. So another thing I wanted to mention is the visualization. We have the supply chain, and this is the supply chain for Prime One, the company, the demo company that has been set up for Missouri, and it basically you can add Prime members to this organization. And I'm going to go into my profile real quick and show you after this where you would do that at. But basically you can import your supply chain members and things that you would want to do. This is confidential information on your side. No other manufacturer is going to see this. It is in your confidential section of your profile. So, but doing this, you can actually evaluate where you are as far as different needs. Maybe there's a financial risk or a single supplier risk. It helps you identify different risks within your supply chain, but also kind of evaluate what might be out there, what alternatives are out there for you. So you can basically navigate to the fine alternatives and it'll populate for you what might be a good alternative for those different issues, or not issues, but for that specific need or whatever you are looking for in that regard. So that's another big aspect. If you go into the main page here, and then you go into supply chain, you can pull down your company and it populates up. But you will first need to go into your organization. So if I go over to my account and go to my organization, this is kind of where we're talking about updating your profile and doing all those things. So if you want to update a description, typically descriptions are not necessarily real long, but you can put the more information in here. And when we did that search for Michelle's company laser cutter, this is actually where you would add those terms as far as what you guys are doing, what capabilities you have, what machines you might be using, what materials you are using, all of those items that you want to add and highlight that you have with your company. This is where you'll actually be adding that stuff. And the more terms and information that you're adding that you think would be beneficial for people to prospect you, this is where you want to add that, as in those areas. And you can add multiple capability statements. You can add certifications, your NICS codes. This is the actual public information. And then we have the members only information. This is where we'd have other CONNEX members would be able to see this information. And again, confidential information down below is where we'd have that. So, and that's where you'd actually go into adding your supply chain. So this is where for Prime One demo company, we've added and updated our suppliers. We can add them, creating, and we could talk about more of this if you have questions, but you could create a new supplier. You can also import suppliers on a bulk list if you have multiple suppliers that you want to add in there, and we can help you with that information and doing that. So kind of covered a lot of information there. I want to ask, is there any questions, first of all? As we move forward here, I want to turn over to Alan here in a second, but is there any questions right now that you might have for anything that we've covered so far? Okay, great. Alan, yeah, I would like to turn over to you. I would like you, you're going to go over the Exchange Center. So if you could take some time to do that and maybe go up to the national database and the importance of that aspect of it too. So
All
Are you
right.
able to share right now?
Happy to do that. Yes. Let me just double check and
Okay.
make sure I can. In fact, I'll go ahead and share screen right away so that
Okay.
you've got that. And in fact, I'm going to turn off my video so that it doesn't interfere with the connection. So I'll bring my video back on when I finish the presentation side of it. So
Sounds good.
hopefully
Thank
you're
you.
all seeing CONNEX Missouri. Does that work? Excellent.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Michelle, I have a quick question for you, though, just before I get started here. How long did it take you to complete your profile?
From start to finish, it only took me about a week to get everything pulled together, and I had it up pretty quick. But that's not sitting down for the whole week every single day, all day long. I mean, I spent an hour here and there just kind of piecing this together.
Yep.
And
Okay,
I'm the
thank
one
you.
leading this whole thing, so it was just a one-man crew.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Depending on the amount of information you have at your fingertips, right, determines typically how long it takes to complete the profile. Most information we find is added in somewhere from about 15 minutes to 45 minutes. We'll get all the basic information in there. And then some detailed information you might need to dig around for, or you might not have readily available at your fingertips. It might take you a little bit of time to go find all that information, gather it up, and make sure that it's complete. But yes, thank you for sharing that. That's usually a question that we get right out of the gate is, so how long is this going to take me to get my information in? And most basic information is added in somewhere in that 15 to 45-minute range. So yeah, with additional detail being added over time, but you know, taking a little bit more time to suss it out. Okay. Today, our focus is really on the Exchange Center. I appreciate Jeff kind of giving the overview of some different things for you to look at and how to get familiar with the system, how to get into the system. I'm going to jump straight in to the system today. So if you have not yet gotten a login or have access to the system, hopefully you'll take some of those steps that Jeff has already outlined and get to this point where you're able to get into the system and see what's here. Because the Exchange Center is our focus for the day, I will touch just briefly on both areas of the Exchange Center. The first one is a surplus material area. And surplus material is designed for a place to be able to exchange any kind of excess material or equipment or other items you might have that you would like to either donate or sell. I'll just click on this one example that's here. It looks like a great example. Someone has some stainless steel angle drops and looks like they've included a price here. And so you can very quickly just kind of get some information about it. If you have some of those types of posts, we encourage you to just kind of follow this example, in fact. An image often helps. So just like if you were going to post in any other type of platform where you're selling something, if you can show what you're selling, often that helps the buyer to have a better understanding. It's also a place where you could donate things. So if you wanted to donate for some sort of a purpose, and as educational institutions are added later into the platform, they're not necessarily in here now, but that is a use case that we got early on from some manufacturers where they wanted to be able to donate equipment and materials to education organizations. And so as those are added into the system, Jeff will give you the update on that when it happens, but you'd be able to donate them as well. But for now, it's a great place to be able to exchange some surplus material and equipment. So I'm not going to spend much more time on that one though, because a lot of the functionality that I'm going to go over on the needs side will be the same on the surplus side in terms of setting up your post. So I'm going to come over to the needs side. And you'll notice there are a number of needs in here already. Most of these have been initially posted by Missouri Enterprise, which is great and fantastic, and they're a fantastic source of opportunity. And now that the system is starting to get rolled out and being adopted, you'll start to see more and more opportunities being rolled in here.
Hey, Alan, can I talk about that for 1 second?
Yes, please.
So, yeah, so we are, as a part of the Missouri Enterprise, as part of the NIST MEP national network, which Jeff Sterling mentioned in the very beginning. We are a part of a 51 center organization. Some states have more centers than that, but basically there are 51 centers throughout the United States, including Puerto Rico. And being part of the NIST MEP Center, which NIST is part of Department of Commerce, we get access to that large network of consultants, not only here in Missouri, but also across the state. So we have access to helping you guys with different needs and things like that. But also we get access to other companies letting us know about their needs as far as tough things they're having to fill, or things that they really need help with filling. And that's where these are going to be posted from now on CONNEX. So this listings here, we've had, I think, around 100 so far this year, but this has even been pointed out in recent executive orders from the White House, and it looks like the NIST MEP network is going to be growing as far as getting these listings, and you will see more and more and more of these. So these are very good opportunities for you guys to come in and look through them and see what's available. We also, which Alan's going to talk about, we can send these out to you too, and so you don't have to necessarily come in on a regular basis, but we can send them out as they get posted. So I'll turn it over to you, Alan, for that. So.
All right, perfect. Thanks for that background, by the way, Jeff. And they are real and present opportunities. So if you see something on this list that you think you're qualified to deliver, there is a respond button, which we can't see on my screen, but you'll see on your screen. That says respond down here. And if you'll just respond to that listing, it will go to Jeff and let him know that you have identified that you have the capability to potentially respond to this particular RFI. In the attachments, you'll get a lot more detail. So here you can read through and get all the kind of criteria and information about the opportunity, so you can decide whether or not it might be something that you may be qualified to deliver. So in here, as the post is being created, and I'm going to come to the edit screen for just a moment, you'll notice here are the basic portions of the listing that need to be completed in order to get it out there in front of everyone. You'll need to put in your organization and a subject. Now the subject line, I'll spend just a second on this. This is what everyone will see in that list view we just came from. So you want to make sure that it is descriptive enough that people can have an understanding of what it is you are asking for, what your need is, in a very succinct way. And then the description is where you can add in all kinds of detail. And I don't know that there's actually a limit on how much you can add. I'm sure there is some limit, but it's a very large limit. So you're welcome to add a very detailed description about what your request is. And that will be very helpful to anyone who's looking at it to see if they might be qualified to deliver. Also, if there are any restrictions. So, you know, it might be that a specific certification is required, or, you know, maybe a certain SBA designation is preferred. Those kinds of pieces of information are important. If you ever need help, there's a tooltip here that will provide you some help on that. If you're uncertain about what needs to be provided in the field. Again, there's a place for when you want your listing to start and when you want it to end. So when you put in a listing start date, if you don't put one in, it'll select today's date by default. So you want to make sure, if you don't want your listing to go out until next week or to show up until next week, that you put that date in your start date. And this is when it will expire. So whatever date you would like it to close and end the listing is the date you would list here. A contact person is good if you want to have them reach directly to someone in your organization. And just know that by putting a contact person in there, they will be visible to anyone who views this particular post. So, you know, if you have a point person or a contact person within your company you'd like them to reach out to, that's who you'd like to put in, or that's who you should put in the contact area. We talked about the attachments, and I do strongly encourage the attachments. Once you have this basic information set for your posts, and you can choose if you want to do an RFI or an RFQ, RFP, or any other basic need that you have. So whatever your needs are. And again, I guess I will highlight that this is a place for needs primarily, not necessarily for offers. So there is a distinction between that, right? So think about, is this something that I need or I'm requesting? If so, it goes in the Exchange Center needs area. And if it is something you're offering, then typically that will go in the surplus area for right now. We have a new section that will be coming out in a future release that is intended for you to have a place where you can advertise your capabilities and things like that. So that's in a future release, but for right now, the needs area is really for things that you're looking for. So then once that basic information is created, the next thing you'll notice here is a distribution list. Now, this distribution list is super important because this is where you can indicate who gets notified about your post. So you may want to come in and say, well, I only want to notify those who are working in a specific sector in manufacturing. You know, maybe this is a food and beverage item. Or maybe I only want to notify small businesses or veteran-owned or 8A women-owned, some sort of SBA designation. Maybe I'm only looking for those who have a specific, you know, certification, maybe an AS9100 or something along those lines. And it can be a combination of them. So these are all additive. So you want to add as many as you want or need to make sure that you are identifying companies that match what you're looking for. And again, NAICS, SIC codes, so loads of opportunities for you to put in information which will help to match to other companies' profiles. So I'll come back to something that Jeff said earlier, and that is it's so important that you make sure your profile is completed, because when someone adds criteria in this distribution list, what the system is doing is going out and looking for company profiles that match this criteria. So if you have nothing in your materials area, as an example, and someone comes in and says, you know, I'm looking for someone who's working with ceramics, and you don't have in your profile that there is a company that is working, that you are a company that works with ceramics, the system won't find you and it won't notify you of the opportunity. So you want to make sure that those pieces of information are completed on your profile so that the system knows to notify you about the opportunity. The next, you can also just manually choose organizations. If you happen to know specific organizations you want to have notified, then you can also come in and select those from the companies that are in the system. And once you have that all set up, when you hit send, it'll go out and it'll tell you first off how many organizations will be notified, how many people at those organizations will be reached. You'll notice when this one was created back, looks like about 7 days ago or so, the criteria that was set up is it was to notify those who are in food and beverage and packaging. And it notified initially 5 organizations with 16 people. Now Jeff can come in because data is being added every day. More companies are joining every day. Jeff can always come back in and set up either that same criteria or additional criteria and resend, and it will actually notify those additional companies who have come into the system or who match the new criteria. So it's additive in nature, but it won't duplicate, meaning the initial 5 organizations that were notified will not be notified a second time. And those same 16 people will not get a second notice. What will happen is it will go out and identify additional companies and additional people who maybe were not notified the first time, who match that criteria now, and it will then send the notification to them. So a really great way of making sure that people are made aware of your need and what you're looking for, your post. So I'm going to come back now here for just a moment. Well, actually, before I do that, are there any questions? By the way, I forgot to say it at the outset, and I normally do this. Feel free to unmute yourself. This is a fairly informal discussion, or intended to be. So feel free to unmute and ask any questions you have, or if you prefer to drop them in the chat, Jeff will be watching the chat for us, and we'll bring them up that way. But are there any questions that I can answer for you initially on how to create your post, how to distribute notification, or anything specifically about what we've covered so far? Okay. If you have them, again, feel free to unmute or to drop something in the chat, and we'll address it as they come in. And the next thing I really wanted to focus on is the opportunity at the national level. So this is the opportunity within Missouri. So this will notify manufacturers in Missouri about the post, and these are opportunities that are available in the state of Missouri. To get to the national database, probably the easiest way is to just perform a search for anything. And looks like I spelled it wrong even, and so we'll see what happens. Did I mean custom steel? Yes, I did. So it will correct that for me, thankfully. And you'll notice that it brings up a nice list of companies in the state of Missouri. But let's say I couldn't find what I was looking for, or in this case, I am interested in what's happening in the Exchange Center nationally. The button here that says expand search to the national marketplace is probably the fastest and easiest way to get there. So if I just click on that, it will take my search actually and open it up in the national marketplace. So this is a good demonstration of how to get to those national results. And as Jeff showed you earlier, if you're not yet registered in the national marketplace, now is the time to get in. You said there were how many days left? 39 days left, Jeff?
Yep, 39 days.
Take advantage
For
of that
Missouri.
promotion. I strongly encourage it. It's the only time it will ever be offered in the state of Missouri. But if you're a manufacturer, you actually get a free forever subscription to the national marketplace. As long as you stay active and keep your data up to date, it'll be free to you for the duration of the existence. So that's a great way to be able to get access to the national marketplace, and we strongly encourage you to take advantage of it. I'm actually going to go straight into the Exchange Center here in the national marketplace. So as I come into the National Exchange Center, you'll see some interesting posts here. Here's some from Northrop. Looks like they've got a couple of different posts here. I'm going to come into this one because I'm familiar with it. And these are live and active opportunities. So if your organization has these capabilities, I strongly encourage you to come in and respond to the listing. Again, there's a response button for you, which doesn't show up for me. But you can see your responses if this is your post. So if you create your post in CONNEX Missouri, let me just start with that actually. If you can create it in Missouri, you'll notice that the listings here at the national level are not the same as the ones in Missouri. And so it won't be synced actually for another couple of months. There's a new release coming out toward the end of November that will actually sync the Exchange Center post between the national and state databases, as well as your profile. But for right now, they are somewhat independent and separate. So while some of your data, by the way, may exist in your profile nationally, chances are it's going to be missing some of the data that you added at the state level. So while we apologize right up front for possible duplication of data entry, it is important, if you would like to be found at the national level, to also make sure that any data that didn't sync automatically is updated in the national platform as well. And again, functionality coming out in a couple of months that will do that automatically for you. So these posts, you'll notice, are different. And if you would like your post to replicate to the national marketplace, you can contact us and we're happy to help you with that, so that you don't have to redo the data entry, or you can just simply enter it again in the national marketplace if you just want to copy and paste the information over. In this case, we're looking at a post from Northrop Grumman. And while normally we couldn't look at who has responded, I do have permission to share this with you, so I can show the responses. This is what the Northrop buyers are looking at. So when they come in, they can see all the companies across the country who have responded to their post. And by the way, this is a post that they have renewed a number of times now because it has been extremely successful for them. We have helped them find a significant number of qualified suppliers who can respond to this, and yet they're still looking for more, by the way. They are looking to award dozens and dozens of contracts to qualified suppliers against this post. And so in here, you'll see also, and again, this is something as a buyer, you'd be able to see any response that the company puts in. So in this case, they typed a nice note to Northrop letting them know about what their capabilities were. And it shows that they were a match on some of the preferences that Northrop had added. And it gives them also an opportunity to upload a PDF, which they have done here. A capability statement is what has been uploaded by Parametric. And I'm highlighting Parametric because I know they actually already received a contract on this. The initial contract they received was about a $200,000 contract. So there's a lot of really great opportunity in here. So that's kind of a quick view into how this works at the national level and why it's so important that you are active both at the state and national level if you have interest in doing business outside of the state. Any questions on that part before I jump back into the state platform? Okay.
And Alan, these connections are made, when they are made, they're confidential. You're just sharing these because you were
Yes,
allowed
because
to
I
do
have
so.
permission to do so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Jeff.
Mhm.
By the way, and let me just go back. That'd probably be easiest if I, whoops, exit out of here first. So here, you can come in and see this part. This part is just the main post, and that's the information that everyone is able to see. And as a manufacturer, you also have the respond button, which I don't have. And so that's the part that anyone can see. The parts I was showing you is what only Northrop can see in this example. So if it was your post, only you would be able to view those responses and see who's responded to your listing. That's a really good clarification. Thank you, Jeff. Okay, a couple other things that I want to touch on before we wrap up our training today. And again, if you have any questions as we go, just make sure you drop them in the chat or unmute your microphone and let me know. I'm coming back into the local Exchange Center now. And two things. The first one is when a listing is completed, you'll notice there's a place for closed here. When the listing has reached its expiration, you'll get notified and there's an opportunity for you to then close the list or the listing. And the system will ask you just a couple of questions. We strongly encourage you to make sure that you close your post. You may get regular notices from the system saying, hey, we noticed you have a post that has not been closed yet. Will you please finalize that one? We do like to make sure everything gets closed out and we know what the result was, whether you found someone or you didn't. All that information is really helpful to us so that we know, is the system working for you? The second thing that I really want to highlight, and I will come back actually to the national one to highlight this. So we can provide you additional help beyond just the notification in the system. And let me tell you kind of what I mean by that. We can help you run what we call a connection event in association with your post. So a connection event just means that you would reach out to Missouri Enterprise and let them know, hey, or to us directly, either way. And by the way, I'll ask my team to make sure that they put contact information in. And Jeff, if you want to put yours in as well, so everyone has contacts and they know how to get a hold of Missouri Enterprise as well as our team for any help or questions that you might have on how to get the most out of this. One of the things that we realized as we were rolling this connection or this Exchange Center out is that there was an opportunity to better help companies find those qualified suppliers utilizing our partner network in addition to the database. And the way that we've done that is by having you schedule a connection event. So if you would reach out to us and let us know you'd like to hold the event, Northrop has with this particular post. And so that's why I kept this one up because I know it's an ongoing event that we've been helping them with. The way the event works is we sit down with you as a buyer, whoever their buying organization is, and we ask you a few questions. So we asked Northrop up front, how many suppliers are you looking, qualified suppliers are you looking to interview? How often do you want to interview them and how long do you want the interviews to last? So for this particular post, they told us we want to interview 16 qualified suppliers over 8 weeks. We want half-hour interviews. So we've got 1 hour a week that we can do our interviews, and here's when we can hold them. So we said, okay, that's great. Let's make sure we send out the notification in the system so we can get manufacturers already responding to your post. And then we will take it one step further. So we will set up the virtual event for you. And we will help to find those qualified suppliers by notifying our partner network. So we have well over 100 partner organizations nationwide. And so if a qualified supplier isn't in the platform yet, our partners like Missouri Enterprise will help us to identify manufacturers that they know of who have those capabilities, who could come in and respond to the post. And so as a manufacturer, you may get a call from Missouri Enterprise or someone else saying, hey, we think you might be qualified to respond to this listing that has come out from, in this case, Northrop Grumman, right? And that then allows us to notify even more manufacturers across the country. We feel like between the database as well as our partner network, we have reached to as many as 70%, maybe even higher, up into the 80% range of manufacturers across the country utilizing both the partner network and the databases. So again, it's a great way to be able to leverage those resources on your behalf to help find qualified suppliers. So just to give you a quick understanding of how this worked, we went ahead and set up those 8 meetings. They were 1 hour meetings, and we lined up the 16 qualified suppliers to interview. When the virtual meeting started, we put the buyers into a breakout room and the first set of suppliers in to interview with them. They get their half-hour interview. We'll pull them out, put the next set of suppliers in. And so for 8 weeks, Northrop interviewed 16 qualified suppliers, and they were absolutely elated and delighted, and asked immediately if they could extend this and do it again because they wanted to find even more suppliers. Of those initial 16, they're awarding 12 of them requests for quotes. So there's a tremendous opportunity to get directly into a buyer. And if you are the one who is buying, this is an amazing way to make sure that you're finding the exact kind of qualified suppliers you're looking for. So whatever you're trying to source, whatever your challenge is, this is an amazing way to be able to find exactly what you need for your organization. So I can't speak more highly about it than I'm doing, but I can just tell you, everyone who's taken advantage of that so far has found the qualified suppliers they're looking for. So if you have a sourcing need and you're having trouble, we strongly encourage you to take advantage of this resource that's at your disposal.
Hey, Alan, there was a question in the chat. It says, what is the cost for these virtual meetings? And I think also that question could go further to say, what is the catch for CONNEX? Because it seems like it's almost too good to be true and things like that. So if you could just hit a little bit on that for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me hit the first one first. You actually right now, there will eventually likely be some sort of additional cost for taking advantage of these events. But right now, there is no additional cost to you to set up an event. And we'll roll that out and months down the road when we get to that point where we have a pricing model. Northrop has asked us, because they were the ones we piloted with, they said, look, we're getting loads of value from this. We've got to pay you for it. And so we told them, well, for right now, we're not actually charging, but yes, eventually we'll figure out exactly how to price that for companies. So for right now, I encourage you to take advantage of it because it's free to you to access that. Now, there is a charge, however, if you are awarded a contract. So if you are a qualified supplier who responds, you get a little notice in the system that says, hey, if you are awarded a contract through the Exchange Center, there is a 1% success fee. And basically it's just 1% on the first contract that you're awarded. And that allows us to generate enough to kind of sustain the system and keep it going. So that's the only cost right now, including that national access and to get into the national platform, because you can get in free forever right now. you would have no cost there either. So just, it's a great time to be getting on. Eventually, right after the 2 months are over, if your company did not sign up for national access during the 2-month promotion, you can still get in for $500 a year. So it's not a significant amount. Our goal is to make sure we build a platform that everyone can participate in. And we just want to make sure we can generate enough to make it self-sustaining over time. So, you know, that the $500 registration fee and the 1% success fee are just intended to make sure that we are building a sustainable platform.
Just
Did
to
that answer your
clarify on
question,
that,
Jeff?
I was gonna say, Alan, real quick, just to clarify that
Yeah.
1% fee was just a one-time 1%
One-time.
fee, and that is of the first initial order. And what need or what proof, documentation, whatever, how does that work?
Yeah, great question. And to clarify, yes, you are correct. It is just one time and just the initial contract that you're awarded. And the only way we have of tracking it, by the way, is when the buyer closes out the listing and indicates that they have awarded a contract and who they awarded it to. And that is the notification for us to then reach out to the winning or supplier or suppliers. In this case with Northrop, it'll be many. That you know, congratulations on the award, and we understand that it's been awarded for this amount. And you know, we would then send an invoice for the 1% success fee. Again, we've had suppliers come back and say, hey, while we did get the award, we're not going to get paid on this for 9 months or a year or whatever it is. And in which case we just say, we'll work with you and we'll collect it when you get the money, as long as you'll make sure you keep us in the loop on that. So that's the way it works right now. There's a bit of trust involved in this. You know, we don't have a heavy hand or a big brother way of making sure that we're involved in that. We're asking that you know, everyone in the system realize the value and make sure that we want to keep it around by being honest with us and keeping us in that loop.
And I think that kind of goes along with, you know, there's been this obvious need that we've had for our supply chain, and we've noticed in the last year and a half or so.
Yep.
And it's a benefit to all of us that, you know, you've been working on this for 10 years now, I think, through Utah, and expanded it out now to a national size program. So we appreciate that, Alan.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. And you're right. And we have been at this a long time. So, but you are the beneficiaries of a lot of really long, hard work. And we're delighted because we're seeing what an amazing difference it's making. And that was our goal, and still is our goal, and will remain our goal. You know, 10 years ago, we set out to solve the U.S. manufacturing supply chain connection problem. And little did we know that we would land where we are today. And you know, we're just thrilled to be able to help people get access to our manufacturing capabilities, because we have a lot more than most people realize.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Do we have any other questions at all? Anybody have any thoughts or questions they want to share? All right.
I'm going to
We
stop
do.
sharing there, Jeff.
Yeah, no problem. We do have a survey, and I guess I can turn it back over to Jeff to I'll post it, Jeff. If you just want to talk about that survey that we'll have shared out.
Sure. So the survey that you're going to be posting is really wanting to know a couple quick questions about how beneficial do you guys find these types of services? Missouri Enterprise is really more impact driven than fee-based driven. The way that we get judged is by the impact that we are able to help our clients with. So if you guys can just take a couple minutes and fill this out, it would greatly help us.
Yep, and it's in the chat, so you should see it there. Again, I want to thank Michelle and Alan today for having us on board, or joining us here today and sharing this out with our Missouri manufacturers, and Michelle for helping explain what your process was through filling out your profile and uploading it and making me recognize your profile right off the bat. So there's other good profiles I've noticed, and so we'll continue to spotlight those and talk about them. And we definitely appreciate everyone's participation today and joining us. And thank you very much for that. And so with that, do have another one of these CONNEX trainings coming up. It's going to be in October 21st, I believe. It's on our website. So if you can join us then, you can sign up on our website just like you signed up for this one. And if you know anybody, any other manufacturers, please let them know and have them contact myself or Jeff or any of our other ABMs, and we'd be happy to share that information with you. So again, thank you, everybody. And
Hey, Jeff?
Yes, sir.
Real quick, if I attended this webinar, what is going to be different in October that would make me want to view that one other than just a refresher course? Can you discuss that?
Yes, so we are going to cover a little bit more in depth on the supply chain visualization and also the search functionality. So there's a lot more than I covered on the search functionality. So we really want to go into that and helping you guys find and identify companies. Alan, do you want to add anything to that or?
Yeah, I will. But first, I want to just ask Michelle. So Michelle, why would someone come to more than one of these?
I think when you get the amount of information all at one time, it's overwhelming, but consistency is the key. You've got to keep looking at it. You learn more processes. It's a valuable asset to have. So I think you should just keep going.
Thank you. Yeah, and Jeff, the only thing I would add is this. Definitely spread the word, because we are all stronger together, and the more we do this together, the better is the experience for everyone involved. And so, we set out to build a solution for our country, but it'll only serve pockets of our country if only pockets participate. So in order for this to really be the solution that it needs to be, that means we all have to kind of come together and do this. So encourage the other manufacturers to come and be a part of it. It's an amazing solution for manufacturing and is really helping to solve some of the problems that we're experiencing. So, obviously I'm a jaded voice in this because we can see the value of it from our perspective, but hopefully you're starting to see the value from your perspective as well, and from the perspective of all manufacturers. So we just encourage you to come be a part of the solution.
Yeah, jaded or not, I think is accurate statement. So appreciate that, Alan. And again, thank you, everybody. The difference is that you'll learn something new every time you come in, and I think the more work you put into CONNEX, the more you're going to get out of it for your company and for us as Missouri manufacturers. So,
Hey, Jeff.
Yes, sir, Ned.
I'm sorry. This is Ned again. I'm reading the chats going on here, and they're talking about some of the past sessions. How does an organization come in, or is it possible to come in and view some of the already taped webinars? Can they access the one that Michelle mentioned in July and so forth, so that they can either see it for the first time or go back and kind of brush up on some of the things that might have been glossed over?
Yes, thank you for that, because I actually was meaning to mention that, and I forgot. On this main page, when you go to our CONNEX Missouri Enterprise, you can go to tutorials, and we have all of our tutorial site information, previous webinars that we've posted, and also power user webinars that this one will be joined onto, along with other webinars that we've had. So you can actually get on all those through our website. We have a YouTube page too. You can contact anyone at Missouri Enterprise and we can lead you to these areas. So if you're having trouble locating them, but if you go to our website under tutorials, under that main CONNEX page, you could see them there. So also on the chat, I think I saw a couple other questions. Let me just try to pull that back up if I can. Sorry. Thank you.
Jeff, I also put the link to the CONNEX Marketplace website, and that's where you can go also to find the national recordings that we do, or the national meetings. We try to hold training about once a month, for everyone who is a user across the country. And so you can find some of those at the CONNEX Marketplace website. So I just dropped that in there in case anyone would like to go there as well.
Yeah, thank you for that, Alan. And they can also sign up for those as well. We also will have these meetings available these recordings are going to be available. Again, we'll post them there on the tutorials page. We can look to do another session like we had in July if you're interested in that, M. Crawford. And we also probably have that also posted somewhere as well that you can go back to and look for. I think that is a supply chain, supplier scouting, and CONNEX event that maybe Michelle was talking about. So, but yeah, thank you for all those questions, and appreciate everyone attending today. And I think that's all the questions, and hopefully you got all the information you were looking for today. Again, you can reach out to us and let us know, and we'll go from there. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.